Hi, my name is Peter Tershwell with the Journal of Commerce, and I'm with Fred Costangue. Fred is the Managing Director of the Taichung International Gateway, which is about an hour and a half outside downtown Shanghai. Fred, can you tell us just a little bit about the terminal that you have going here?
Well, what we like to refer to as is an alternative gateway for the more traditional ports within the Yangtze River Delta. And our main objective is to be able to give both shipping lines and end users alternatives and choices as they look at their own logistics network, and as they move factories and as they're developing their own processes. We want to be able to give them a choice and also be able to drive their own costs down as their factories are moving outside of Shanghai into the Suzhou, Kunshan, Wuxi basin.
Now, Fred, that's really an important part of your positioning here, because you're not at Yangshan, you're not in downtown Shanghai, you're about an hour and a half outside the city, and you're really closer to the manufacturing areas of this region.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Peter. And the way we look at it is we wanted to get as close to the manufacturers, closest to the factories as possible, to reduce that logistics cost. And we really see ourselves positioned properly to give those exporters and importers a lower cost basis and to get out of the congestion that is Shanghai. Shanghai is turning into a financial and service sector city, not a manufacturing. So we really wanted to make sure that we were as close as possible to the cargo, because at the end of the day, the cargo users, the cargo interests control where vessels go. So we're not only selling to shipping lines, but we're also selling to cargo users.
Now, Fred, we're obviously right now still kind of just beginning to come out of the global financial crisis. Cost savings, new ways of doing business, creating efficiencies throughout the supply chain is really a driving force throughout the industry right now. How is that impacting you folks here at Taichung?
We've actually come out of what was our 3 to 4 month downturn in the beginning of May, early May, and have really seen our growth go back to what we've seen in the last couple of years. And we're uniquely situated because we have additional capacity both in our current phases and additional phases coming online. So as people look to do things differently and lower their own costs, we have the capacity to handle the business now and handle the business well into the future.
Can you give us a little bit of an idea of your cargo mix? You're at nearly at the mouth of the Yangtze River here, but at the same time you're an international terminal as well. So, and you're also handling domestic cargo. So it sounds like you have a sort of an interesting diversification in terms of the type of cargo that you're handling here.
That's correct. We have 3 main lines of business, which are domestic, which is pure China, both north and south, and Yangtze River Delta cargo. International business, which is direct from Taichung direct either to Korea, Japan, and in the near future Southeast Asia, and also feedering to Yangshan, which means it's international cargo that's coming into Taichung and then going direct to Yangshan on small vessels, 700, 800 TEU vessels. So those are our 3 main lines of business today.
So Fred, we're now at the end of October 2009. We're at the end of a pretty rough year for the industry, although you guys have done okay here. What's your outlook for 2010?
2010 is going to be our best year. We've had tremendous growth since Modern Terminals has been in Taichung for the last 5 years. We're really situated next year to take advantage of what you were saying earlier about shipping lines, cargo interests looking to reduce costs, to be smarter about how they do business, and to look at every alternative. I think sometimes in the past there was so much volume, so much business, and such a good times that people weren't necessarily taking their cost accounting down to that next dollar sign. And what we're seeing now is people really looking at every dollar and exploring other alternatives to do their business in a different manner.
And Fred, just putting your expert hat on for a moment, what's your outlook for China and for international container trade next year, after 2009 being a year that pretty much everybody in the industry, I think, would like to forget?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure I have an expert hat, but I'll give my opinion. I think China is, as everybody says, is going to lead the world out of this downturn through manufacturing, both for exporting but also for local consumption. And what we're seeing a lot of now, just even in this region in Taichung, is the retail sector selling locally, not just building and selling overseas. And that's really a new facet for China, and it's just a natural progression of where China has been and where they're going. And really comes down to the Chinese people having more money and wanting some of those things that they were making in the past. So that's really going to drive China, and as it does that, it'll also help for the world. Container shipping next year, I think it's still going to be a very scary year. When we look at what's sitting idle, 10% of the world's fleet sitting idle, when we look at what's on order books, it's still going to be very scary. And you know, I think the shipping lines that adapt and do business in a different way and learn from what had happened in the past and what had worked well and listen to their customers, they're going to come out on top. Whether they all come out on top, that's anybody's guess, but I think most of them would like somebody to go, but just as long as it's not them.
Great. Fred, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.